we've been looking forward to having performing this concert with this music for you. We're going to have a slight concert change, program change. The next piece is supposed to be Peter and the Wolf. Instead, we're going to perform America, My Country 'Tis of Thee. And this right here is the One Voice Filmer Center's Exceptional Performing Chorus. So they're going to join us, and we're going to sing America for you next. As we were waiting for the choir to get off the stage, the next piece that we're going to perform for you is Peter and the Wolf. We're going to get back to the program. So, Peter and the Wolf is a wonderful story that Prokofiev, the composer Prokofiev, set to music. So, you're going to get to hear a story that's going to be narrated as we perform the music that will accompany the story. For our narrator this evening, we're very fortunate to have Mr. Ken Smith. He will be joining us, and he will be narrating Peter and the Wolf. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Ken.
Good evening. I'm here to tell you a story about a guy named Peter and his adventures with a great, big, hungry wolf. See, wolves are really pretty great animals. They're beautiful and they're brave and they're faithful to their pack. But you know what? If you run into a hungry wolf in the middle of the winter and the only food source around is, well, you, then you better watch out. And it seems like that Peter, that's a story I'm getting ready to tell you. Now, while I'm telling this story, the folks beside me here, the Fayetteville Symphony Orchestra, they are going to paint pictures of the story for you. Pictures in sound, in music. So you can close your eyes if you want to. And you can imagine the whole story as we together tell it to you. And Maestro Fakuri is going to point his stick toward us and tell us when it's their turn to make music or my turn to talk. Now the first thing we got to do, I've got to introduce you to the characters in our story and how they are going to sound. First of all, there's our hero, Peter. He's a guy about your age, and he lives on the edge of a big forest with his grandfather. Now, Peter is going to be represented by the string section of the orchestra, and I'm going to ask the players to hold up their instruments as I introduce them, if they can. Some of them are bigger than others. First of all, the king of the orchestra, the violins. They look like this. Then their big sisters, the violas, they look like that. Now it's getting harder and harder to lift these instruments because here come the cellos. And finally, you think these guys on the back row can lift the big bass fiddles? Yeah. So those are the strings of the orchestra, and they make Peter sound like this. So you've met Peter. You're also going to meet a little bird, and the bird will be played by the flute. Hold up the flute, please. Now, here's what the bird sounds like. Wow, that's the bird. And there's this really cool duck, and the duck is played by the oboe. Now, listen for the kitty cat. That's the clarinet, slinking around looking for mice or birds to eat. Now, I believe I mentioned Peter's grandfather. Well, he's this really old guy. He's even older than I am. And he's represented by the big bassoon. Hear how hard it is for Grandpa to get around? And now we're going to meet some hunters, and they are the drums. Wow. Now, finally, I must ask you all not to panic. Stay calm. Keep your seats. Everything is under control. I hope. Now it's time to meet the villain. The French horns as the big bad wolf. So I think you've met everybody. It's time for us to get on with our story. You ready? Okay. Early one morning, Peter opened the garden gate and went out into the big green meadow in front of his house. High up in a tree sat Peter's friend, the little bird. "Hey, Peter," said the bird, "everything's pretty quiet today. Come and check it out." Now Peter had a pet, a duck, and that duck came waddling behind him out of the garden. And the duck was very glad that Peter hadn't shut the gate behind him so that she could come out and take a swim in the deep pond in the meadow. When he saw the duck, the little bird flew down to her and said, "What kind of a bird are you? You can't even fly." But the duck said, "Well, what sort of a bird are you? You can't even swim." And with a big splash, she jumped into the pond. And they argued back and forth while the duck swam and the little bird hopped along the shore. They did this a lot. All of a sudden, something came sneaking through the tall grass. It was, yes, a cat. And the cat was thinking, that dumb bird is so busy fussing and carrying on, I'll just sneak up on him and eat him for breakfast. So without a sound, the cat crept up on the bird. "Watch out!" cried Peter. And in a flash, the little bird flew up into the tree. And the duck clucked at the cat. "Who do you think you are, you big bully?" But from the middle of the pond. The cat walked around and round the tree thinking, would it be worth climbing up that high? By the time I get there, that bird will fly away for sure. Uh-oh. The party's over. Seems that Peter's grandfather noticed that Peter had left the safety of the garden all by himself. And Grandpa was pretty mad about it. You know that it's dangerous out here, he said. What would you do if a wolf came out of the woods? What then, huh? Come on, Grandpa, said Peter. I'm not scared of any stinking wolf. But his grandfather took him by the hand and dragged him back to the house, and he locked the garden gate behind him. Sure enough, no sooner had they gone back into the garden than a big, gray, hungry wolf did come out of the forest. Man, the cat shot up into the tree like a rocket. But the duck got so excited that she jumped out of the pond onto the shore, and the wolf was after her. The poor duck ran as hard as she could toward a hollow log in the meadow, but the wolf was gaining on her. He got closer and closer, and right at the hollow log, he caught up with her. Poor little duck. So now this is how it was. The cat was perched up on one branch of the tree. And the little bird was on another branch. Yeah, not too close to the cat. And down below them, the wolf was walking around the tree, looking up at them with greedy eyes. Now, Peter had been standing behind the locked gate in his garden, and he'd seen everything that had gone down. And he was thinking, you know, this is definitely not going well. What am I going to do? Then he got an idea. It's dangerous, he thought, but you know, I'm still not scared of any stinking wolf. So he ran into the house, and he grabbed a thick rope, and he ran back to the garden wall and climbed up to the top of it. Now, see, one of the branches of that tree that the wolf was circling actually reached over to the wall. So Peter jumped over the wall, and onto that branch, and he climbed up into the tree. And he said to the little bird, listen, dude, you gotta fly down almost into the wolf's mouth and keep him busy. Hey, but be very careful, because if you get too close, he'll eat you. I'll try to remember that, said the bird. He was tickling the wolf's nose with his wings, and oh, that made the wolf mad. And he jumped after the bird, trying to bite him in two.